Good morning, everybody. Our reading today is from Romans chapter 13, verses 1 through 7. The main exhortation in this section is that we have an obligation to submit to secular government, that we should pay our taxes, that we should give respect, that we should give honor where it is due. We might wonder why Paul has chosen to insert this particular passage at this point that he did. Like, what does it have to do with what he said before? What does it have to do with what he says after? The reason it's being put in there is because it would be tempting for us as Christians to draw a wrong conclusion from what he has said thus far. We could think, well, we're not supposed to be conformed to this world. This world is passing away. We're reigning with Christ. We're new creations. And we might draw a wrong conclusion that we don't have to pay attention to secular authority anymore, that it doesn't matter in our lives. And Paul here is making an argument saying that's not true. And he says it's not true because God is the one who has ordained government. He's drawing on a long Old Testament tradition that this is so, like when the prophet Daniel is talking to King Nebuchadnezzar, saying that God is the one who has put you in your place. And there's also the very words of Jesus when Jesus was questioned about paying taxes, and he said, "Give to Caesar what is Caesar's." So he's saying God is the one who has ordained government, and therefore when we rebel in a wrong way against government, we're actually rebelling against God. And he says that the government has been given the power of the sword. That is, it's been given the power by God, ordained by God, to punish those who do wrong and to reward those who do right. That government has a responsibility before God to maintain order and to maintain justice, and therefore we should submit to it. One of the issues over time that Christians have had to wrestle with in this passage is, does it mean Christians have a responsibility for just blanket obedience to whatever government asks? And the answer is no, because our ultimate king, our ultimate Lord is not the government. It is God. And so when government requires us to disobey God, then there's a legitimate reason for us to not do what the government says. The classic example of this, of course, is from Acts chapter 5, in which the secular authorities and the religious authorities are telling the apostles they cannot preach the name of Jesus, and Paul says we must obey God and not men. And so there may come a time in which disobedience is required, but by and large, in the normal things of life, we are to submit to government, we're to pay our taxes, we're to show respect, we are to show honor. And this should remind Christians too who serve in government that that is a ministry that God has given you. Whether you are a police officer, whether you work in government at any level, whether you are a judge, whether those involved in making ordinances and laws, that one of the functions you are serving under God is maintaining order, that wrongdoing would be punished and that those who do right would be rewarded. And so this is a ministry that you have, and we should do that job with the utmost integrity, doing it before God. And it should remind us that we as believers really need to renew our mind in this idea. Sometimes we think, man, government is just a nuisance, get off my back, I don't want to have to do what you say. And we really need to renew our mind that government authority has been ordained by God. It has a role, it has a purpose, and we should show respect as much as we're able to do so. This is part of renewing our mind in the Lord, how we think about government. Have a great day, everybody.